Everybody, Brian Neubert here, destroyer of media credentials, live at the Xfinity Center here in College Park, Maryland. After Purdue's 67-53 Big Ten reopening win at Maryland, this is your goldenblack.com rap video. It is brought to you by our friends at the Purdue Club Hotel. If there were a Purdue Club Hotel in Baltimore, Maryland, that's where I'd be staying tonight. Why isn't there? 67-53, number one Purdue over Maryland. Purdue gets its first road win of the season, snaps a Maryland home winning streak that I believe stood at 19 games. Before I get started on basketball, something I want to point out here real quick. Scanning through our YouTube page, I have noticed, first of all, a lot of you watch these videos. God knows I can't figure out why. But scanning through our YouTube roster list of videos earlier today, for some reason, I noticed a lot of my videos feature this shirt, and since a lot of dialogue has taken place over the years about my attire, I do want to clarify something here. I do not wear the same shirt every day. It just so happens that I have two of this same shirt because I like it, and I have it in jacket form that I sometimes wear as a shirt. I won't bore you with the details, but I've been forced to tighten the rotation shirt-wise this season. So you see this shirt a lot. You see a couple of them a lot. But I'm not wearing the same damn shirt every day. Don't dare you accuse me of wearing the same shirt every day. Purdue wins 67-53. First blush take is that this was Big Ten basketball, which is to say aesthetically displeasing. A nice way to say ugly. Low-scoring game. Maryland is not a good offensive basketball team, but I think that's a lot of what Purdue's going to see in the Big Ten this year. You look around the Big Ten, you see a lot of teams that struggle to score. Purdue is obviously not one of them. Maryland most certainly is, but Purdue did kind of have to rock fight this a little bit. I think they did a good job defensively. I think more of this was on Maryland just being a bad offensive team with no apparent direction. From an offensive standpoint, despite having three pretty good, pretty experienced players in Jahmir Young, Dante Scott, and Julian Reese, who was a total non-factor in this game. But I think Purdue played well enough defensively. I think Lance Jones did a much better job on Jahmir Young than the box score is going to tell you. I think a lot of Jahmir Young's 26 points came on after this game was long over. In the last few minutes of the game. I'll have to go back and itemize it. I don't have that information off the top of my head, but it felt like there was some serious stat padding going on late. Jahmir Young, no assists for the guy with the ball in his hands all the time. Purdue not only, I thought, did a pretty good job with Jahmir Young and made him kind of a one-man show, but they didn't let anybody else do anything. No one else hurt them. And that's part of good defense, too, especially when you're focusing on one player more than everyone else. So a nice defensive game by Purdue. I think the defensive rebounding is what jumps out in terms of things that, Purdue could have done better. I, for one, would tell you I don't consider that a red flag because I think when it comes to allowing offensive rebounds, you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. And I think when Maryland's throwing racquetballs up there, super happy fun balls, whatever that was on SNL years ago, and they're just coming off the backboard or the rim at 100 miles an hour, the smaller, quicker team and the team facing the basket because they're playing offense is going to get a lot of those rebounds. And I think that was the case, same as it was against Morehead State and some of Purdue's early bye games. They were just chucking threes, and a lot of those long hot rebounds were coming to them because either the ball was coming too fast, too close, or it was just the opponent was better situated to run it down. So I wouldn't really view that as a red flag per se, but I think it's got to be an emphasis for Purdue for all five guys on the floor when the shot goes up to make sure whoever's closest to them is accounted for. Maybe then those long, hot rebounds find Purdue instead of finding the opponent. That obviously, the 17-second chance points for Maryland obviously is the difference between them scoring 53 points and them scoring like 30-something. It was that's how stunted Maryland is offensively, but that's also how good Purdue was defensively in this game, with some tough matchups. There were some really tough matchups in this game for Purdue that Maryland never really leveraged. So not only do I break media credentials, but I break pens. Doing nothing. I did nothing to this pen. It just exploded. It has a mind of its own. These spring-loaded pens are dangerous. You got to watch your eyes around these things. So I think Purdue's a really good shooting team. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. But I think, Purdue's not only been pretty consistent shooting the ball, and this is a place, this is an opponent, and this is a building where Purdue has had some real ups and downs shooting the basketball. The Under Armour balls are gone. I'm only now noticing this. But Purdue's had some awful shooting games against this team and in this building. Whether there's causation there, I have no idea. But Purdue, practically shoots 50% in this game on the road. They make early threes. I thought that one of the biggest plays of this game, might be overstating it ever so slightly, came seconds into the game where Maryland actually gets a good defensive possession. Purdue's possession was going sideways a little bit. It was really going nowhere. Ross-Ade couldn't get a touch. Trey Kaufman-Renz ends up with the ball all alone in the corner, makes a three. Maryland has a great defensive possession, ends up giving up a three to a guy they're probably not worried about, even though he's shooting a really good percentage. But then also, Fletcher Lawyer made one after that, and Purdue got off to a good start. But then obviously the Lance Jones stretch to start the second half was the deciding stretch in this game. Now I say that knowing Purdue was up double digits for most of the first half, and obviously at halftime, much of the first half. That might have been inaccurate. But then Lance Jones, the guy, when you zone Purdue, has the best chance of kind of slipping into an open space for open threes. Probably not the guy the defense is worried about more than Braden Smith or Fletcher Lawyer or whoever else it might be. He gets going after missing a couple threes in the first half. He makes three in a row. Those first 5 minutes of these second halves are so important, especially when you're playing with a robust lead. You do not want to let a team like Maryland, who really struggles to score, get their heads up, let this crowd, even without their awesome student section here, don't want to let them get into this, don't want to give them hope. And Lance Jones threes, bang, 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 one after the other. I think that was the stretch where Purdue just kind of stepped on their throats. To put it in the most graphic terms I possibly can, because it's what I do. I think that was a really, really, really good stretch, a really important stretch for Purdue. Obviously a good stretch. I probably could have come up with a better word than good. It was a really impactful stretch for Purdue, a really pivotal stretch for Purdue. Purdue is an outstanding shooting team, and they've been consistent, relatively speaking. They've shot well away from home, which is a important barometer of a good shooting team. And they are just a really good offensive skill team. Again, good. I can't come up with anything better than good. Part of shooting is a skill, right? When people talk about offensive skill, dribble, pass, shoot. That's three things. Dribble, D, P, S, for lack of a better term. I think that Purdue's a good shooting team. That's one of those three boxes. Purdue was an outstanding passing team tonight. I think they're a very good passing team, but they were outstanding in this game. I thought the tempo, the cadence with which they ran their offense was really, really something Maryland struggled with. The passes in, the passes out, the reposts, the ball movement, the extra passes, the all of it was just really, really something Maryland couldn't deal with. And Purdue got a lot of good looks because of it. Really got Ross-Ade going in the second half especially, I think, if I recall correctly, but also dribbling and passing. I think, Purdue's been relatively unaffected by backcourt pressure. There might have been a crossed wire or two tonight. How much it had to do with Maryland, I'll have to go back and watch, but I think that Purdue did a nice job dribbling, handling the ball. There was a play that I think puts a face on what I'm trying to say here. Not really a face, not really somebody's face getting cut off and put on something else. Again, to put it in the most graphic terms I possibly can. But there was a play where Mason Gillis got it in the corner, drew a defender, shot faked. That so doesn't sound right. Shot faked. Dribbled baseline. The spacing wasn't great. Zach-Ade didn't handle the ball as cleanly as, the aesthetics you would have liked. But it was effective because Edey caught the ball and scored. And it was a great play by Mason Gillis. And there was another one by Lance Jones where he, at the end of I don't know if it was at the end of a shot clock or deep into a possession, he made a really nice pass in the lane inside to Edey after using his dribble. These are the guys who are like secondary and whatever comes after secondary ball handlers for Purdue. I'm not talking about Braden Smith. I'm not talking about Fletcher Lawyer. I'm not talking about Ethan Morton. I'm not talking about the guys who are Purdue's best passers. I'm not talking about Zach-Ade, who's having a fantastic passing season, if you ask me. Even if his assist numbers don't necessarily reflect it. I think he's been great at that this year. I'm talking about Lance Jones and Mason Gillis making really nice plays with the dribble, with their passing, and it's because this team collectively is a really good team, really excellent team from an offensive skill perspective. And that's shooting, that's dribbling, that's passing, all the D, all the P, all the S. Yeah, exactly. Obviously this was the sort of game Purdue wanted. It played out how you would have thought on paper this game would play out, though you never take anything for granted on the road, obviously. But, Purdue's the best team in the Big Ten, and I think it's going to have a chance to have a few more of these games here on other people's home floors this season if they play the way they can play, which is to say not turning the ball over too much, which they probably did in this game, and they still led by 22 in the second half anyway. So that's kind of what I got from the Xfinity Center here, where the Wi-Fi, true to its sponsor, held up swimmingly all night. And so I'm going to leave you now after this long meandering video. Head back tomorrow, and I will talk to you again Friday night after Purdue hosts Illinois. Obviously, it's been an eventful last couple weeks for Illinois, and my pen just popped again. And now the little straw with the ink is gone. I don't know where it went. See? Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. And thank you for processing our materials, however it is you process our materials. And thank you once again to the Purdue Union Club Hotel, which I will await updates on for when they open up their Baltimore, Maryland location, so I can stay there in the future when I'm out here. So thank you, everybody.